Let me then talk to you about railways, and if you can give us a clarity on what the current operating ratio is as far as the railways are concerned. We are given to understand it's closer to 98.4%. If that is in fact the case, then it would be one of the lowest operating ratios that we've seen in over a decade. What is causing this kind of pressure at this point in time? And I am also given to understand that on the issue of pension outgo, the Railway Ministry has written to the Finance Ministry, which now falls under your ambit there. So what can we expect on that front?
Well, I think it reminds me of that old famous Watson statement that it's elementary. The reason for this situation is pretty elementary. And I think all of you very well understand that after the 7th Pay Commission came in with 1.3 million people on the roll of the railways, our bill for salaries and pensions and all the other allowances went up nearly 22,000 crores. On a revenue base of about 180,000 crores, you're looking at a 12.5% increase in expenditure in a very short period of time. So obviously, the operating ratio had to deteriorate in the current year. But we are working towards improved efficiency, better procurement practices, putting to use some of the assets in a more efficient manner, monetizing some of our non-immediate requirement assets like land in various places, seeing how our the efficiency of rolling stock and track can be better utilized, looking at electrification being speeded up. You know, we did 4,087 kilometers of electrification last year, which is which used to be 650 or 700 kilometers in 2013-14. So we're looking at a very massive scale-up of CapEx. We've expanded CapEx 2.5 times in the last few years compared to the previous government. So our effort is to make Indian Railway future-ready, to be able to meet the ever-increasing needs both on the freight side and on the passenger side, and dovetail that with efficiency, punctuality, cleanliness, better catering, and all of these put together so that railways can truly get back that charm of traveling in Indian Railways which it used to have. So we can once again have some more songs being made in the railways and some more honeymoon travels coming back to the railways.
Well, we'll have to wait to see about that, Mr. Goyal. But specifically on the issue of the operating ratio, and as you pointed out, it's a series of steps that you intend to take forward to ensure that there is an improvement on the operating ratio. Can you leave us with what is the current operating ratio? And also on the issue of land monetizations, you know, we've previously spoken about the issue of land monetization several times over. When do we actually see the Railway Ministry move forward with this? And speaking of monetization, today you've already put out an advertisement or at least an announcement on the rights possible IPO and a discussion around that. Can you leave us with some thoughts on what we can expect as far as the IPO pipeline is concerned? And in earnest, when do we start to see land monetization?
Land monetization got into a little bit of a delay because some of the conditions that were put, 45-year lease, some issues around mortgage, sub-mortgage, sub-lease, which needed to be resolved. I've had extensive consultations with all the stakeholders, and we are just awaiting cabinet approval to allow 99-year leases to justify investments in the long run, because ultimately Indian buyers and Indian investors are looking for a longer period to recover their investments. That on the one hand will get approved soon, and we'll start working on which are the parcels of land which are ripe for investment or which are ripe for monetization. On the other hand, your question about operating ratio, yes, we have a high operating ratio, but that's where we need to improve on our efficiency parameters. As regards the IPOs, rights, IRCON, RBNL, all of them are on track. The IRFC, where we were looking for a dispensation on accumulated MAT credit, we've received that dispensation from 17 onwards. We are in dialogue with the Corporate Affairs Ministry to see if we can get a dispensation for accumulated MAT in previous years, particularly considering the unique nature of this organization, Once that gets sorted out, I think the true value of IRFC would be able to come out in the IPO. And as regards IRCTC is concerned, I personally believe there's a lot of value in that company which has not yet got appreciated or captured. We have a database, we have a consumer interface which is huge, and that value has yet to be properly monetized or properly appreciated when we go out to the market. So I'm looking at a significant leg up on the valuation there, which will come with monetizing some of the huge databases that we have and seeing how we can put that to good use.
Okay, I want to pick up on the point that you made about electrification, sir, and you're right that we've seen the highest now kilometers of tracks being electrified so far, 30,000 kilometers of tracks being electrified till March 2018. But you have a fairly ambitious target of 66,000 kilometers by 2021. Now, there were also reports suggesting that the Prime Minister's office has raised concerns with the railway's electrification plans. So is the 60,000 kilometers achievable by 2021? And what are the specific concerns that the Prime Minister seems to have with the electrification plans?
Well, about 20,000 kilometers more is already in the pipeline. It's not as if we are starting from today. So there's a lot of work already going on. For this year, we are looking at almost doing anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 kilometers. So our work has started much earlier when Mr. Sadanand Gowda and Mr. Suresh Prabhu were there. And we are confident not by 2021, I think the target is 2022, August 15, by when we hope to see large parts of the railways, as the Finance Minister in his budget speech said, optimum electrification of the railways. And I think please don't believe every report that you read or that you yourself put out in your channels. Very often these reports are created out of figment of imagination and by unnamed sources which God knows where you get from and what kind of interests are there behind those reports. I really can never understand that. But my Prime Minister is a very, very economic savvy leader. What he guided us was that we must prioritize the investments that we are making on the electrifications rather than just focusing on how quickly we can do 100%. I think the focus should be on seeing what are those missing links and the important segments that need to be prioritized so that the optimum benefit that we want to get, the maximum payback that we want to get from electrification can be enjoyed by the Indian Railways and by the people of India, because it has huge climate change impact also.
Okay, I'll end by asking you two specific questions, sir. One on Air India, because you're part of the alternate mechanism that the government has set up. No expressions of interest coming in so far. What is the plan now with respect to Air India?
I think the ministers who are tasked with that assignment will meet again and we'll take it forward. We'll discuss amongst ourselves what other models or what needs to be done to make this a viable proposition.
So you're not giving up on the plans to disinvest Air India?
Well, that decision has to be taken by the cabinet, if at all that was to be taken.
Okay. I'll end by asking you about what the Reserve Bank's household consumer survey says, sir. And it says household sentiment on the general economic situation for the current period worsened from the previous year. Around 48% of the respondents felt that the situation had deteriorated. Expectations for the next year, however, improved over their level in the previous round. So while there is a sense that things are starting to pick up and that there is an improvement and a revival, the pain doesn't seem to be out of the economy. You're also now holding the finance ministry, sir. What is your own prescription about where growth is headed, and in the short term, what more can we expect from the government?
Well, I'm extremely confident that all the good work that this government has done, both on the anti-corruption and anti-black money agenda on the one hand, which may have temporarily caused growth to dip, but very clearly we had said that there will be a temporary hiccup, but it will ultimately give a very good long-term future. That is already evident. We've seen 7.7% growth in the last quarter, evidencing what we had always said. We have seen the GST collection for the month of April at nearly 94,000 crores. And as you are aware, April is one of the lowest collection months. We saw a 5-year track record. Usually April is about 7.1% of the annual indirect tax collection. And if you extrapolate that, you're looking at nearly 14 lakh crores coming in, far more than the budgetary estimates. So I think we are on the right track. The economy is doing well. I'm told commercial vehicles, there's a 6-month waiting period today. The auto sector, steel, cement, power, mining and coal, all the sectors are showing signs of very rapid growth. And I'm very confident that the economy is on the right track. The nation is moving towards a formalization of the economy in a larger way. The people of India are working towards making India a nation of honest business and nation of honest future for the next generation. And I'm happy that the success of GST, the success of moving India's needle towards a nation where one can work with pride and one can work honestly is becoming a reality as we go forward. I see a very bright future for India in the current year and in the years ahead.
Well, Mr. Goyal, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. And hopefully, the next opportunity we get, we will be able to speak to you about your new charge, and that is the Finance Ministry. Today, you wanted to restrict it to coal and railways, but appreciate your time here on CNBC TV 18. Thanks very much indeed. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this CNBC TV 18 special from all of us here. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.